Well, thank you, Stephanie. That was beautiful. I'm going to ask Philip Page and my lovely wife, if she's feeling up to it, come join us up here. And hopefully we're going to discuss our missions trip down to the island, the beautiful island of Dominica. That picture that you see there, I took. This is just off the side of the road, and just driving up one day, and there's actually a beautiful double rainbow. I don't think you can really see the double rainbow there, but just a really gorgeous country, and certainly that rainbow is very pretty. Jamie grew up on the island of Dominica, moved there when you were 3, yeah. Right? So hold the mic up where everybody can hear you.
Yes.
Yes. So she had not been back since we were, since college.
Yeah. Over 14 years.
14 years, and I had never been to the island before, and we're very thankful someone paid for her trip altogether. Someone from Bible Baptist donated just for her to be able to go, and so that was a blessing. And then Philip was able to join us, and so you had never been to Dominica before,
I had never been. I had been to some Caribbean islands, but not Dominica, so it was a beautiful island, even though it was very small. It was very beautiful, and I just want to thank the church for the financial support and praying for us as we went on that wonderful trip.
And it was a blessing. This was our whole team that went. So Philip and I, this was the team plus the missionaries, and then on the far right you see Lisa and her daughter Maddie. Maddie's only, how old? She's 11?
She will be in a couple weeks.
Yeah, she's 10, but she looks like an adult there. But it's Lisa on the far right and her daughter Maddie. They live in the basement apartment of the missionary's house with Tony and Martha Cornelius there, my father-in-law and mother-in-law, Jamie's parents. And then her brother David joined us from Greenville, South Carolina. He flew down the day before,
yep.
And then left left the day before we left. So he was there for the whole week to help. And then there was a team. This is primarily guys from Bible Baptist Church, but Dennis Pass is in there, and he is from another local church. And then Ken, the guy who's, if you see Philip in the front, all the way on your right, I guess, my left, you see Philip Page. There's a man next to him. That man is named Ken. He was from Minnesota, right? Was it Minnesota? Montana. Montana. I got the M states, Minnesota, Montana. He was from Montana. And so he flew down to join us. He had a relative who went to Bible Baptist. That's how he heard about the trip. So we kind of had an eclectic group of guys join us for this. Of course, this was primarily to begin the building project of the church there in Dominica. So, and this just gives you an idea. We flew from Atlanta to Miami, and that was actually, 2 hours? It was really short to Miami, and then another 3.5 to Dominica. It's not bad, but you see how it's pretty far down there. So what do you think of the weather, Philip?
It was warm each day. It was very consistent.
The word is hot.
It was
hot.
It was warm. Pastor Taylor was missing.
It was 80 degrees with humidity of 95% and no air conditioning anywhere.
Pastor Taylor missed
air conditioning.
I
did. I came home and I hugged my air conditioner. So
it was a perfect time to go, because when we got back, we had Thanksgiving time, and just going there and just seeing all that what they live in and what we have is just really an eye-opening time to come back to Thanksgiving and just really appreciating what we have, the air conditioning, just walls with windows to hold the weather out.
And the bugs out.
Yes,
there were a lot of bugs. Yeah. Yeah, we arrived on Wednesday, November the 12th, and you see Philip there posing with the jet. I think he was wishing he had flown. He had piloted the jet or something, but and that is the airport. I mean, was it? I mean, as far as airports, it's pretty small.
Yeah, there's like 3 planes in each day, 3 planes out. That's it.
All day. So if you miss the flight, you have missed the flight, and that's the end of it. So there's Philip at the. This was the van that the team rented over there. It's the wrong side of the road. The left side is, but they
the dog there. We called him Pedro. One of the teammates called him Pedro, but he was loyal to come and wait there every day till we came home, and he was just glad to see
That's probably
us.
the biggest dog on the island.
He was very casual, very warm.
Well-fed.
Yes, well-fed.
A lot of the dogs are really nasty. Like they are sad. But that one was very happy.
Yeah, he was our mascot. He waited for us every day on the porch. Couldn't wait for us to get home, and he'd wag our tail, and we'd pet him.
That was a Toyota Noah van. And how many is that supposed to seat, Philip? It's got like,
Probably 7.
I think it's got 8 seats. I think it's got 3 across, 3
Yeah, you
across,
could
and
fit
2.
12 in
So
there.
there you go.
But yeah, that's the thing is they just cram them in. So I saw the school bus down there is just a little bigger than this, and there were probably like 30 kids on the school bus, and they just cram them in there. You know, there's no car seats. They're not concerned about any of that. These are just little kids. But everybody's driving those really compact cars, compact vehicles, and we rented that one for the week, and then the missionary, Tony, has a vehicle that's just a little bit bigger than that. So between those two, we were able to get around the island okay. Philip and his group, I was with Jamie a little bit more during the week, so you guys had some more adventures in the van, didn't you?
Yes. Okay. So we on Sunday afternoon we had a little bit of extra time. We were going to decide to go to the restaurant ahead of time, and so we were following Google Maps, and I told Pastor Regier, hey, there's a shortcut. So we can save.
Doreen's shaking her head. She knows these shortcuts.
We can save 2 minutes.
It was
so
not a
I
shortcut.
talked Pastor Regier into taking the shortcut,
was
and
not.
like I said, they had to go home and get dressed or whatever. We were all in our vacation/work, so we didn't have to change. Anyway, so we were ahead of them, but so we thought, let's just take this little shortcut. Well, while we were going up the roads kept on getting smaller and smaller. It turned into like a trail, and then also the GPS just decided to give out.
Just cut out.
Yeah, we were away from the main road, so we were kind of like meandering through the mountain, and we had to stop and get directions. And by the time we got back to the main road, out comes.
Yeah, we passed them right as they were pulling back
So I was
on
like,
the main
that
road.
was our little
And the
shortcut.
reason we had to go back, we all were still in our clothes, but he gives, and no one has a car. Like very few people have vehicles, and so he gives a lot of people rides to church. And so we had to drop off a lot of people after church. I mean, there's just it was just stop and letting people off. So it was. I don't know how long it felt on your end, but it felt like a pretty good little run.
It was a little jaunt.
But we did catch up with them and beat them to the restaurant, so that was good. This was where the team stayed. I wasn't there again, so
Yeah.
I don't know if...
It's beautiful. The next slide, you'll see out our back porch. Anyways, in here is, like I said, is no air conditioning. It's just open air. Where I slept on the back porch. I was just open to the ocean and the waves crashing on the bay, and just all the crickets and bugs and frogs. We were just open to the air, but
They literally had a bed on the back porch.
yeah, that's where I slept.
Yeah.
So, wasn't that cold? All that ocean
Cold.
breeze
It
blowing?
was 80 degrees. It
we
never...
had- we had-
78 at
78 to
night.
81
We had the fan
the entire time
going
we were
to keep
there.
the bugs off, but it was okay. It was not what I'm used to. I think getting used to. So I kind of have an idea of how Jamie grew up. I don't know how you did it for that
I don't know
many
how she
years.
did it either.
And I guess Miss Murphine and Rosemary and Janelle, you grew up in Jamaica, so you kind of have an idea. I kind of have an idea what it's like to live in Jamaica.
So
as well.
that house, you can see through it right now. That you could see through it all the time. So the house just is wood, and there's no insulation, there's no walls, there's no drywall, anything like that. There's just wood there. They have power. Everything is it's plenty of there's plenty of power to run air conditioners. There's I think that house had 4 bathrooms, 5 bathrooms.
4.
It was a very nice, very spacious home.
Cold shower.
Yeah.
See, the real
Well,
experience would have been the
I think we
outdoor
discovered-
shower, the outhouse.
I'm pretty sure we discovered after the fact that they didn't have to have cold showers. They just didn't know how to use the water heater, because the water heaters are on the shower heads. So you actually flip a switch in the bathroom before it's very important you flip it before you get in the shower, because if you get in the shower and then you flip it, you can get shocked with 220. So you want to do it before you get in. So I think they took cold showers all week in vain. But anyway, this was their back porch, so it kind of made up for it.
That was my view in the morning, right
It's
there.
gorgeous and just very, very pretty. The island is just beautiful. They call it the Nature Isle, right? It's kind of their motto. the Nature Isle. So it is a very
And it
beautiful
seemed
place.
bigger than, the island is only 15 miles wide by 30 miles long, tall. And it just seems bigger because to go anywhere, the roads, I mean, to go 15 miles, it takes you an hour
Yeah.
to get to the other
Top
side of the
speed's like
island.
35.
It's,
you know,
it just seemed bigger than what it was, even though it's just a small island. It only has like 70,000 people on the island, very small. But
and we were in the, and we'll talk about this probably a little bit, but we were in the Kalinago territory, so this is like the Indian Reserve on the island. So it's probably the poorer part of the island.
Yes.
And there's just 150 inches of rain a year. I mean, it rained a lot even while we were there. I can't remember. I feel like Georgia gets like 53 inches a year, something like that. So they get a lot of rain. And that's a massive fern. I don't know if you can tell that's what that is, but that was just out growing in the wild there. Obviously, not everything is perfect down in Dominica. When we tell everybody we went on a missions trip to the Caribbean, they're like, oh, poor you, you know. But Haiti is the poorest island in the Caribbean, and Dominica is the second poorest island. And if you recall, in 2017, when they had the hurricane, it pretty much wiped out every structure there where in the Kalinago territory. It pretty much wiped everything out. This was, or Jamie, this was the building
Yes.
that they were meeting in, right?
Yeah, that was the building we started. So the church was started in 2005, and we used a public school at first for our meetings. So I don't think it was probably 2006 or 2007 before we started renting this building for the church.
And so it was just destroyed, and that's how it looks today. It couldn't be rebuilt, the expenses to rebuild it, and then the fact it was a rented building, the church wouldn't be able to build that and then continue renting. Just wouldn't make any sense. So it's actually, we drove past that on the way in the first day. I took that picture, I think, on Sunday when we were going up to eat, but we wanted to make sure that we showed you what we were, why we were there. This was destroyed in 2017. So my son Ethan is 8 years old. This was the year he was born. So it's been a while. In the aftermath of that storm, I read that the damage was estimated at $1.37 billion, and that is 226% of the gross domestic product. So, I mean, it is a poor island, and it was just absolutely devastated. That picture there I took, that is at the entrance of where we were going in. That giant puddle is actually the road. Where you drive in to go down to the church building.
And it rained every day.
It did. It did. It rained a lot. And the one day, it rained a whole lot. But this building used to be a radio station, I think, I was told.
Yeah.
And it's just been, there's a radio tower that's there that was destroyed in the hurricane. And the wreckage is just laying off to the side. That building's completely empty and vacant. And I guess there was somebody working in there a couple of days while we were there. It looked like they were fixing it up. But just to show you, I mean, the place, it has not recovered from the storm. Everything, even that radio station just shows just how bad that was. Back then in 2017, Tony and Martha and their family were evacuated with the rest of the American citizens who wanted to leave by the United States military in cooperation with the State Department. And I can't remember, how soon did your dad return? It was within a month? Or within?
So the hurricane happened in September, and I think he was back in October, and then he came back beginning of December for TJ's wedding.
So and then her parents all returned, but they didn't have power on the island for a year. And I mean, it was just, you see that picture there. I took that picture up just kind of in a wilderness area, and everything is green, everything is lush. I mean, it's a tropical island. After that storm, there was nothing green, everything was brown, and there were no leaves. It was all stripped away. The wind, it was a Category 5.
Yeah, it was supposed to land as a 3.
But it hit
kept
suddenly
increasing.
as a 5 and just decimated the island. I remember we went to Greenville when their flight landed to pick them up that year. And so that was a big event in the history of the island. You can see this building here. You'll get some more pictures of it here in a little bit. That is the current church building. It's just a plywood building. And they have been meeting in that building since just immediately following the storm. So basically her dad went back. They built this plywood building in their side yard at their house. and it's a rental house, so they they can't change the property too much, but they built this temporary building. And then the location where it's at now, I guess they met there for the first year,
Yeah.
and then after that, they took that building apart and moved it
Right.
to the current site.
They were able to buy some land for the church, and that took a few hopping through hoops to get approval from the Carib Council and stuff. But once they bought the land, they were able to lay a concrete pad down and then moved the building onto that.
So the current building sits there at the bottom of this. I guess it's kind of a hill,
steep.
and then it goes down beyond that too. And if you look out, you have a beautiful view of the ocean behind it. You can't really see it in that picture. But to the left of that building is where the new building is going to be. So I think this was like the very first time we walked down to the building, I think, is when I took that picture.
And we
But-
did ask Brother Tony Cornelius how big that building was, and he said, it's easy, it's 20 by 28. And how he knew that is it's 5 plywood sheets wide and 7 plywood sheets long. So
Yes.
that's how big it is.
They
Just
they
very
have
simple.
power in there, and they have a couple of fans. There's a few windows that open up, and they have a sound system. It's wild to me. Everyone down there has smartphones. Everyone has a smartphone. You could, this morning, probably right now, you could search OBC Dominica, and you could actually stream their service live. And yet they're meeting in this plywood building with, open air, chickens walking around outside. It's just
Dogs.
Dogs.
I didn't even notice them.
Well, we'll talk about the dogs in a little bit. So maybe I was hungrier than you. The temporary building there on the right, this is the lot. And if you remember when we sent money from VBS this year to help with the new building, you might have seen the videos of them preparing that site on the left there. And they actually, even last week, I should have put the video in here, but they started digging the foundations out for the new building. They have finally gotten the permits to continue building. But that's the temporary site we just looked at on the right, and then this is going to be the permanent site. We arrived on Wednesday afternoon, so the next morning we got to work right away. You see Ken there. I think Philip's in the background. That's a banana tree right there by Ken. We didn't want to hurt the banana tree. So we built a building right there. That was kind of the first thing to do. They decided, and you can see the windows of the church are open there. But they said that they needed a building because, what did Charles say? The man in
He
charge?
said if you don't have a shed or someplace to lock up your tools and supplies, they'll grow legs and walk away.
Yeah, they'll grow legs and walk away. We know about that here as well. But we built this building for the supplies. That was really the one of the three big things. What would you say? I mean, the concrete. We did the concrete drive. We painted the old building and kind of restored the rotten wood and everything, and we built the shed. Or kind
And
of the
as
three
we're
big-
building
And
the
bent rebar.
shed,
Yeah, we've been to a lot of rebar, but we'll talk about that too.
as we're building the shed, what do you need to make holes for the poles to go in
yeah.
the ground? What would you normally use to?
How would you dig the holes?
Post hole digger, yes.
Or an auger?
Do you have a post hole digger?
I have a post hole digger.
Did they have a post hole digger?
No. And the men we got there, they could not wrap their minds around the fact that we did not have a post hole digger and we couldn't get one. So we said, well, do you have tools? They said, yeah, we have tools. And they came out with, 3 shovels?
So they had a real pointed shovel. You could dig down, but you couldn't get the post hole digger. You're saying when
So-
you pull it out.
We actually dug these holes, and this was the hottest day. The first day was the hottest day, I think. So
It was
I was
hot every
out there.
day.
Yeah, it was. But
I
I was out there digging the
comfortable.
holes. Yeah, Jamie's comfortable at home with the fan blowing on her. So we were digging these holes, and Philip Page and my brother-in-law are out there on their hands and knees digging the dirt out of the holes. To
We
clear out
did it. We
these-
did
had
it
to
the
give
island way.
18 inches down, 2 feet. something
21
like that.
inches.
21 inches, almost 2 feet. So that was a long day. While we were doing that outside, which I think arguably was hotter than inside, because at least inside they had fans and shade. But the men inside were working very hard. You can see there, and the magnitude of this, you can't really tell. There's piles of rebar there. That's a lot of rebar. And it all has to be bent for the construction. So you have to bend this. It's going to go in the foundation. It's going to, the building is going to be a building with concrete. It's going to withstand, hopefully, the next hurricane. So there's all of this going on. So they were bending this rebar. They had a bender, but it's all manual. There's no tools that are power tools, and all the rebar has to be tied with metal too. And I was looking at some tools this week where you just hold it there and it goes, zzz, and it ties it. They're tying it by hand, with pliers. So that was a lot of work. They were in there all day, and that's the church building. So if you look in there, that's when the floor was clean. We started working in there on Thursday afternoon, and we were tracking in and out. It was pouring rain. By the time we were done, that building was just full of mud. So one of the big jobs we had to do on Saturday was we had to take everything out of that building and wash the building out and clean it all up and reset it for church.
Yeah,
and even
Monday we were scrubbing our feet out before we went in. But
Yeah,
I
to
think
try
we
to be
just
more
gave
careful.
up because it was just so
it was
muddy.
so bad.
And we're going in and out, in and out. So we
Constantly,
just-
all day, just the whole team. By lunchtime that day, we had most of the walls up for the building. It doesn't look very big there, but it is, I don't know how.
It's 24 by
2 sheets of plywood. So.
8 by 24.
Yeah.
Yes. 2
So
by.
it was a fairly large structure that we had to build. And you see here, this is Charles. So you know Charles way back to when you were in school, right?
He went to, I think he still goes to Lighthouse Baptist Church, which was the first church we went down to help with.
So he is a Christian. He's kind of the foreman on the site, and he'll be the one overseeing the construction of the church building. He's in high demand as a builder on the island. In fact, the first day, I think it was the first day, he said, I can only stay till noon. I have to go to an award ceremony. He was getting an award for being like the best builder
Yeah, he built many
on
houses
the island or something.
On the island.
So, and that's Brother Ken hanging out there. Can you see Ken's Hot Wheels shirt there? Is that what that is?
Yeah,
Ken's
he
Hot
has
Wheels
like
shirt.
a collection of
He
over
had a Hot Wheels
2,000.
shirt. Yeah. No, he has 7,000 Hot Wheels.
I said over 2,000.
Yeah, he has 5,000 in cases and 2,000 not in cases, and he had a Hot Wheels shirt for every day of the team. So that is his thing.
Some of them were reworn.
Yeah, okay. We have all kinds of fruit that we do not know or recognize here. You want to tell us some about some of the things there are to eat there? Everything on the island, like every tree, every bush you walk up to, just about has something you can eat.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, the
So
two
star
peop-
fruit there.
the
Yeah,
two people on the
starfruit.
left, I think that's Lincoln and
Yeah, Lincoln
Seth.
Trotter and Seth Knight.
Yeah, I called them kids. But the star fruit on the far right is really tart. I guess it is more like a
Well, there's two
starburst.
kinds. There's the sweet star fruit, and then there's the sour. So the tree at the church was the sour one. The sweet one was at my parents' house.
Okay. Well, I tried the sour one. It was very good, nutritional value. And then also on the top right, I believe that's a coconut. And I come to find out that it has a lot of electrolytes, which we, being out in the sun, working real hard, we needed electrolytes. So that a lot of us took advantage of drinking coconut juice.
And there's two types of coconuts there at the church. There's coconuts,
Yeah, and then there's jellies.
and there's one called jellies. And you just take it off the tree and grab a machete and hack it, and then you drink the water, the coconut water. And if you want to, you can eat the coconut. But here in the States, when you buy like shredded coconut, it's nothing at all like coconut there. It's sweet, sugar's added, but there's all kinds of stuff. So what I wanted to hear was like like the types of things. So they have an almond tree in their front yard.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
banana
the-
trees. There's red bananas.
Yeah, so at my
Guavas.
parents' yard, there's guavas. They have an almond tree. There's an avocado tree. There's a soursop tree. There's banana trees, yellow and red banana, I think. They used to have, I think they used to have a lime tree, but I don't know if that one's still there. There's, oh boy.
I know at
We
the
have
church there's
breadfruit,
sour
we have
orange.
French apple, we had pineapple plants, coconuts, jellies. I think the mangoes were on the neighbor's yard, but we still went over.
I'm just saying on the island, like there's just so much fruit. Like
Grapefruit,
there's no way for anyone to
oranges,
starve.
Kinnip.
Like you could be poor as
Sea
dirt
grapes.
and you could find plenty to eat. There's just food everywhere.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because the value of the land is based off of.
Oh, there's one fruit
your
called like the stinky
trees.
toe.
Oh, it didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't try that one, so I'm glad.
I never could get it past my nose. Supposedly, it's really good for you.
Uh huh. Yeah, that's what they all say. The breadfruit was amazing. I'll say that. The breadfruit was amazing. She made me try this stuff called yams at the restaurant. It was terrible. Never try
They're
yams.
very good.
Very bad. Don't listen to her. The local food, you guys had a little more of a local food experience
Yes,
because
we had morning for breakfast. They fed us local food. Good food. Just took a little bit of getting used to, but we had a lot of chicken, rice.
Saltfish.
Oh yes, and
Let's
we
talk about
asked the lady at the bread and breakfast. She said we're gonna have a special breakfast tomorrow.
Special
It's gonna be swordfish, and we said, Pastor Regier said, did you say swordfish? And she said, yes, saltfish. So we heard
Swordfish.
swordfish.
and she's
She
laughing.
heard-
Our Jamaica ladies are laughing. They know. So the guys are telling me, they're like, yeah, we're having swordfish for breakfast. They're like, I don't know how we're having swordfish because they don't even live around here. They must have to import it. They must have to import this swordfish.
So come to find out, it was saltfish.
So tell us about it, Jamie.
Saltfish. No,
Say it.
They just went. The lady came and saltfish.
Swordfish. Yeah.
It sounds just like swordfish.
It's saltfish. It's just cod. It's just cod that has been salted, basically. And they eat it for everything. So the breakfast.
And it's very good.
Yeah. The breakfast every day was like it was saltfish and
Bakes.
cucumber salad. Bakes are just like thin
Eggs.
biscuits.
Fried.
Sometimes I think Pastor Year had to ask for the eggs. I don't think they were going to give us those. But the local food, some of us liked it more than others. One of the funniest things for me, there were a couple guys who were very, very picky. One in particular. And we were sitting there eating lunch, and the three of us were kind of sitting in the shed eating lunch and talking. And one of them's eating lunch. He's like, oh, this isn't too bad. And he pulls something up. And I mean, it was terrible. Like it's like scaly and like what in the world is that? And
Chicken foot.
it was a chicken foot. And he's like, did they put the whole chicken in the blender? And I'm pretty sure that's pretty close to what happened. Is they put the whole chicken in the blender. But Jamie was back in her element because she hasn't had some of this food since she lived there, and so she loved it. OSHA would have had a heart attack at some of the things we did. I don't know if you can tell
So we
there.
were building that on a hill.
That's on a hill,
So
a
the
muddy
ladder-
hill that's very
The
slippery.
ladder was leaning on the hill.
The ladder's leaning like this. But more than that, Philip's just like, oh, the ladder's leaning. The ladder's leaning, and there's three guys holding it, I think. The ladder is leaning towards the church, and more importantly, the power line.
The power
The
line
main
right there.
220 power line runs right there. So if the ladder falls, it's on the power line. So don't tell OSHA, but we had a good time. The rain clouds that first day got there before we could get the roof on. It came pretty quick. You could see it coming across the ocean. We knew it was coming. But we didn't get the roof on. And as it started pouring rain, our delivery truck rolled up. And the truck had plywood on it. That first truck had 75 bags of concrete.
And they did not have, they had some of them on pallets, but some of them were laying right on the truck. So we had to get them out of the truck as fast as we could.
Because
We
they
had-
were getting soaked. They were
right.
just...
And the truck couldn't come down the hill because it was too steep and muddy.
And it was a long hill. So we had to go up the hill to carry 75 pounds, or 60-pound bags, 75 bags down the hill in the pouring rain. And so that was very exciting. There's Philip's got some roofing to keep him dry for a minute. But
For a minute.
we unloaded all of that. It was really a torrential downpour. There was some thunder and lightning too, but just for a second. Not while Philip was holding the metal over his head.
Right.
It was very enjoyable from the porch of the mission house.
Of her parents' house. So I'm working on the wall there. It looks like Zach's carrying down the pallet at the end of our unloading time there, and Philip's working on. That's the next day or something. You're working on the door
Right.
to the shed. The church building itself, you can. This is a whole other thing. So when we unloaded the cement, you can see it piled up there inside of the church building. It was pouring rain, so we unloaded 75 bags in the pouring rain, put them all in the church. Well, then we had to move them all to the shed. Then we got another 150 bags. We had to carry all of those down, pile all of those in the shed, and then when it was time to pour concrete, we had to carry them all back up the hill to mix
it.
them. So it's very inefficient. There's no concrete trucks that just show up and pour your concrete. Everything takes 3 or 4 times as long as it should.
Did we have a conveyor to bring them up the hill?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we lined us all up, and we were tossing.
We worked as a team. We had like a little
Yep.
conveyor belt.
Well, first, at one time we did try putting them on a pickup truck and bringing them up or down. And that didn't work that great. It was better to just do the conveyor. But the reason you can see in the side of the church there, all of that plywood on the old building, you figure this would have been built in 2018 or whatever, all of that was rotten from just years of moisture, and if the plywood is anywhere near the ground, the water just seeps into it. So we had to cut all of that off. That's one whole side of the church. We did some on the back side and then maybe touched up the other side, but we had to replace wood, and so we were working on that. We also got the roof on Friday. That was a hot job because you're up there on the metal. Philip and Dennis and Ken, I think.
And Dennis Pass, I didn't realize it on the trip. There's Daniel Pass at Bible Baptist, and he's identical twin
is
to
identical
Dennis. And I didn't put the
That's why he
connection
looks
together
like him.
till I was talking to him, and I said, "What do you do for a living?" And it was like totally different than what Daniel did. So then I finally put
He
the
was
connection
retired
together.
from the sheriff's department, I think. Dennis is, right?
Yep.
So, but he was there, and he was a great help. He really knew his stuff. You can kind of see the forms for the concrete there, and we worked on that. We
Monday.
worked on the forms. We poured on Monday, but we worked on the forms on Friday, Saturday, and then
Right.
we had to put metal down. We had to lay the metal. What is that called? When you're reinforcing
It's
the
like
concrete?
a rebar.
Yeah, but it's just real thin. We had a big roll of it. We had to cut it up, and a couple of guys got cut on that a little bit when we were working on that. The storage shed was finished. There's 225 60-pound bags of concrete, and then all the rebar in there, so safely stored away. And then we had church on Sunday. You can barely. I don't know why I didn't really have any good pictures on Sunday. But when we got there Sunday, all the ladies are in their Sunday best. They have their Sunday shoes on, and it's blazing hot. And they had to walk down to the church, and so it's super muddy over in the grass because we had all been working there. And then the road, we hadn't poured the concrete yet, and it had that mesh,
The grid.
metal mesh. So we had to kind of help everybody down to the church, but they made it. This is a picture inside the church. I think Philip might have took that.
I did.
And it's not full yet, but it's kind of at the beginning of the service. Here's some of the folks from the church. The little girl there has some notes, something she drew. We had Sunday school, and that makes it look empty, but the church was pretty full. I taught Sunday school, and you can see Jamie's family there on the left with some of the folks from the church. The kids, right? This is like the
that's
teens.
the teens and elementary students.
And then Jamie did some special music for them on Sunday. Pastor Regier preached the morning message. And then after church is when we had the whole incident where they got lost on the mountain for a while. But this
We
was
saw y'all coming down
it
the
was a
road.
shortcut.
it was the long
Uh-huh.
cut.
And we
yeah.
were like, why? What were they doing on that part?
We saw Philip and we were like, oh, that's what happened. But no, this is the view from the restaurant looking out. It was called Pegwa Bay, and the way I remember that is at Penguin Bay. But no, it was really pretty up there. The restaurants are interesting because, Jamie, you were telling me that it's like they don't have commercial.
A lot of
Equipment
them
for
don't
most of them.
have commercial equipment, so it's just like a regular house stove. And so you give them your order, and after you give them your order, they start from scratch all of your food. So it might take an hour, 2
It takes,
hours,
especially with
to
a big
get your
group.
meal.
So, and they don't take your drink order right away and go get your drinks and bring them back. So they take your order first, and they get started on that, and then after a while they'll come out with your drinks. But they also don't have like fountain drinks. So if you order a Coke or a Sprite, you get a bottle of Coke or Sprite. It's all imported. It has to be brought over from another island.
So there are no
Those
free
health-conscious
refills.
people here, you'd be interested to know, none of their Coke or Sprite has high fructose corn syrup. It's all cane sugar. It's interesting. But it was very nice to be able to get a Coke on Sunday at the restaurant. And I had some good island food. I had a burger and fries. It was very good. I had had enough island food by then.
One thing about the services that I wanted to point out, in the church service, they have a time of testimony. A lot of them got up and either sang or gave testimonies. Very involved. They had the young people, thank you for bringing that slide up there. A lot of the young people got up there and sang. And during the week, while we were working, for the lunch hour, they would cook food, bring it to us.
Yeah, the
very
ladies from the church fed the team several days of the week during the week, including the chicken blender time. But this was just a gorgeous view. It was just so pretty. And then I went into Roseau on Monday morning. That's the capital city. So we went in there. This was a traffic jam, apparently a very bad traffic jam going into Roseau. But you can see another rainbow there, just a really pretty place. I did find the one American restaurant on the entire island.
There is a Subway.
There was a Subway, I thought.
Oh, the Subway's
I was
gone?
told it got destroyed in
Okay,
the,
well.
or
So-
was that
maybe there is a
destroyed?
Subway.
Now, this is not the trip for the get the tools, right?
No, you did that.
Sure.
Or
Ken
Ken
and-
and Pastor did that.
So,
week before.
if I could mention
Yeah.
real quick, so they were lacking in tools. The circular
Severely lacking in
The
tools.
circular saw, the frame on it, normally when you cut, the base of it is stable. This
I think
saw,
first of all, it was a Ryobi. So if you
this
know anything
saw
about
could
tools,
it wiggled. You couldn't make a straight cut. The blade was so dull. So a
Philip
bunch of
could
the-
cut just fine with it, but they asked me to make a cut, and I couldn't do it. It was just like flopping around like a wet fish.
A bunch of the
While I
guys,
was
Pastor
trying to-
Regier, came up with the idea. Let's upgrade some of their tools. We bought them a post hole digger.
We did.
And, a
After we had
circular
dug
saw,
all the holes, we bought a
a
post.
couple of good shovels, and then also, I don't know, a good hammer, several other tools that they
Yeah.
could use. So we,
And the paint.
Oh,
We had to
and
buy
paint, yes.
15 gallons of paint, and the
Yes.
paint alone is like, I think it was 230
so all the plywood we put on,
per 5 gallon.
it was not cheap.
Was that EC
No.
or US?
I think that's U.S. It was expensive.
It was
I
expensive
think,
paint.
I think overall between the two teams, we spent, because I bought some other tools later, we spent almost 2,000 U.S. on equipment and things to leave with them to continue the work. And the men on the team took up a collection from among the team. They raised almost $800 of that right there in the island, and then both churches contributed some to that.
So it's much
So-
needed, very quality tools that they can use for years, that'll help them with future with the building.
Yeah, and you can see there, the top corner is the Do It Center. That's, or that one might be, I can't tell if that's the grocery store or the Do It Center.
I used to Do It
the
Center
Do It
on the
Center
top
is
right.
basically their equivalent of like a Home Depot or Lowe's. It's a little smaller, but they pretty much have everything there. And then I had that Jamaica patty there in the bottom corner. That was amazing, by the way. It's chicken and what is it?
You'd better say it's amazing.
oh, it
The
was so
Jamaica
good.
ladies are listening.
The juice was a little lacking. It was supposed to be
Green apple something?
French apple or something, and I think they put the entire tree in a juicer and then stuck it in that bottle. It was a little rough. The Jamaica patty was amazing. I love that. You can kind of see the concrete there. They hired a team of local guys to come and help with the concrete job, which is good because we took on the project on Monday. We were painting the entire inside and outside of the church building and the shed, and a lot of it had to have 2 coats, and there's all that trim work. It was a huge job. And so the men from the island who were being paid to work there, they came and they helped with the concrete all day. I don't know if you can tell, Seth is in that picture somewhere. He worked very hard on the concrete.
Yeah, we had a
that
good group of
day.
men that
I
really
should have
worked
given
together.
the names of all the men back at the beginning, and I forgot.
So we all worked together really good. We had a lot of experience. Ken had a
Yeah.
lot of experience, and
Ken and Dennis and Philip kind of were able to be the kind of the overseers a little more.
then we had
among
a
our
lot.
group.
Everyone just chipped in. Like
There were young guys
Seth, Zach,
who didn't really
Lincoln,
have experience.
They really
but
just did whatever
were
they
willing.
could.
Yeah, they were willing.
And then
Right.
also, we had a surprise visit. I don't know if Jamie wanted to mention this, but Jamie's younger brother, David,
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
surprise visit to his mom, right?
Yep.
The
Yeah,
dad.
only my dad knew. That was because David knew someone needed to pick him up at the airport.
Yeah.
So he really chipped in and helped a
He
lot.
worked
It was
just
a
as hard as
blessing
anybody else
for
on
his
the team.
family. It was a good surprise for
Yeah.
for.
He hadn't been back since he left 5 years ago. This is kind of a completed job, and you can kind of see, so the concrete at this point wasn't poured all the way up the hill yet, but you've got the shed there on the right, the church building beyond that. To the left is where the new building will be built, and it'll be a 2-story building. So the auditorium will be upstairs on the 2nd story, and you'll be able to look out at the ocean. It's going to be gorgeous when it's finished.
And they'll have more breeze up there.
They'll probably have
Yes.
air conditioning up there. Jamie and I said the last day we were going to be in town was Monday because we were going to go over to a different area of the island. So I said, we can't come 2,000 miles down here and not see some of the places where you grew up. So I took him in at Monday morning. We went. We walked down to the playing field below their house and kind of we hiked down. This is what they call it, a model village. So the
Kalinago Barana Ote.
that's what they call it. So this is where the Kalinago Indians have their kind of touristy, like they've built a model village and they have the history of the tribe. And so we walked down there and looked around. It's just a gorgeous place. And there were a lot more pictures I couldn't possibly fit into the slideshow. Even this is going longer than I had
Oh,
planned.
yeah, there's
but
the waterfall
There's a
there.
waterfall there. Again, that picture can't possibly show you how beautiful that is. It starts there. It continues on past that. I mean, that's only a part of it.
And it leads to the ocean.
It does. The ocean's right there. It's just gorgeous. They used to play in that as little kids. This is just a pretty view looking out. So Monday night, when we finished work, we drove to another section of the island called Calabishi, and it was billed as more of a resort. It's supposed to be like a vacation on our trip. You know, like we had finished the work, we had done the hard work, and we're going to go like stay somewhere nice. And they still didn't have air conditioning. And so, but the views were just incredible. And this is looking out of the back of the place where her parents stayed. We just stayed that one night. We didn't stretch this out, but
2 nights?
well, we stayed Monday night and then we stayed Tuesday night because we were leaving Wednesday morning. So it was 2 nights, but it was basically one solid day. But it was really pretty. And what else? While we were there, it's not really a big tourist place because we asked like if there was a place to buy like.
There was no.
Dennis wanted to buy some stuff for his kids,
Yeah.
and they were like,
There
"There's
was-
nowhere to buy
No.
Souvenirs.
or
Yeah.
anything
Souvenirs
like
are
that."
sold on the Kalinago territory, or you can get them over in Roseau.
Like the resort
capital.
area of the capital, but basically nothing there. We did do some shopping at a local market there. One of our guys, we walked in and down there in the little stores, it's kind of the equivalent of like a gas station store here. A lot of people just buy what you need like for the day or for the next day. They don't buy for a week unless they're going into town. But we went into this one place, and I think Zach was really hungry. He saw a 20-pack of burgers, and he grabbed that whole 20-pack of burgers.
They didn't taste like our burgers.
They didn't? I didn't have one because I went on the airport expedition.
They had a lot of fillers in there.
And this is the day we went on a hike to a waterfall. It was a little, the waterfall itself was a little underwhelming, but the hike was a little overwhelming, right?
It was a big hike.
It was a big hike.
We
And
took another shortcut. We missed the turn.
I did not take a shortcut.
We went
because
past it.
There were signs, and all you had to do was read the
Well,
sign.
we were busy talking.
There were like
and we
6 of them in their
We
group,
didn't see the sign,
and they just walked past it. And
and
so
we dreaded not seeing the sign because
Yeah.
we walked.
poor
another-
Dennis. Dennis was on that hike, and it was a little much even for me to go on that hike. I mean, especially coming back because uphill, and Dennis was walking the whole way like this.
Yeah,
the
we
whole
walked.
thing. He
We
did
walked
the
twice as
entire
far as what
hike.
we needed to.
I thought we were going to have to go back down and carry him up. It was bad. But the last day, we went to a chocolate factory. It was not Willy Wonka's. You can see the chocolate, what are these called? Cacao beans. So they grow on a tree inside of a,
A yellow pod, and then
Pod?
they've got
The big process.
Yeah.
and then they have to take it out of that and dry it. What do they say, like 2 weeks on the table?
2 months.
Wow.
Maybe it was 2 weeks.
It was a long
Yeah,
time.
it was like 2 or 3 weeks.
But it's just open, and definitely not your Hershey's chocolate factory. But you can see the main building there on the left, and there's actually, you can't tell, but the middle picture has the cacao. What? What are we saying? What's wrong? Oh, Queen tried it. We shared some with Queen. What did she describe it as?
A dirt bar instead of a
A
chocolate
dirt
bar.
bar. So it's like very.
It
Jamie
only
had
has-
7%.
It only has 3 ingredients in the bar that I shared with Queen: chocolate, a little bit of sugar, and coffee.
And
None of the extra fillers
Queen
you
said
get
it
in
tasted
American
like dirt.
chocolate.
But some of them are better than others. I
It was
promise
only
you.
70% chocolate.
And the good thing about the chocolate factory is the bottom room where they actually make the chocolate was air conditioned, so that was nice. But it was a beautiful island, a beautiful trip. Is there anything else you wanted to?
Yeah, I just
say
want to
about it?
say, the Cornelius would do anything. If anyone needed a ride, they would take them wherever they needed to go. They adopted Lisa and Maddie. They were just hard on their luck. They needed a place to stay, and they took them in. And just a loving family, just gave up sacrificially many, many things to live on this island. Very sacrificial. He really has a love for the people. they talk. This is our family. This is who we are. We are giving our lives for the gospel, to share the gospel to the people on the island.
Yeah, and for me, going down, being able to see where my wife grew up and to understand a little bit more of how she grew up and what she's used to and has been used to historically. And my mother-in-law just really is it's just amazing what the Lord has done through her and how she's able to live there joyfully. She's a lot more like me, and her dad, Jamie's father, Jamie's a lot more like him. He grew up in the Caribbean. He was actually born in Africa as a missionary kid, and then moved to the Caribbean and grew up there. And so he was very much just a part of the culture, used to it. But her mom was not at all. And so she's down there, and just seeing her, working in her kitchen. The windows are open, the doors are open. There's bugs that you have to deal with. There's ants that come in. There's just the things that she's sacrificing to minister there. Just is really neat to see how willing she is to do anything for the sake of the gospel. So just a couple of prayer requests. We praise the Lord that the blueprints were finally approved by the government when we went down there. The reason we couldn't start on the new building is because the government hadn't signed off on the prints yet, and that's just kind of a typical thing. You have the Caribbean culture of kind of laid back, tomorrow kind of mindset, and then also it's a socialist government. It's a little rough with some of that. And then just praise the Lord that some funding has come in. They had a donor give them a $150,000 matching grant for the building. So as money comes in for that, that's really been a blessing. And then just praise the Lord that the church is doing so well, and just pray that many more will find Jesus as their Savior. And then just continue to pray for the Cornelius family. Of course, this is my in-laws. So I have a vested interest there, but beyond that, we've taken them on as our missionaries here, and I think they've been on the island for over 30 years, and just seeing, as I was in their house, and people would just stop in day and night just to get help with things. Everything from men on the island show up and say, hey, can you help me weld this real quick? Or can I get a drink of water? Or do you have any, and just the relationship that they have with their community, the rapport that they have everywhere. Like Philip said, everywhere we drove, he was stopping the bus to pick somebody up, give them a ride to school, give them a ride to work. Even when we went to the Capitol, there were some college students who were they have to go into the capital city every day for school. It's an hour and a half one way. And we would give them a ride so they didn't have to pay their equivalent of an Uber or a taxi to get to school. And so it was really a blessing to be there. I do want to thank the church so much